Welcome, everybody. It tastes different gaming news. What's in the news today? Well, what happens when you do a great job? You lose your job. All right, before we jump into it, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, all those good little buttons that keep you up to date with all the fun stuff we love to talk about. And boy, do we like to talk about it. All right, so let's jump into this. Marvel Rival devs laid off despite the game's huge success. NetEase is reportedly pulling back on game development. Several Marvel Rival developers at NetEase Games have been laid off, according to the game's director, Thaddeus Sasser. What a name. Over on LinkedIn, Sasser said, "My stellar, talented team just helped deliver an incredible, successful new franchise and Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games. And we're just laid off." All 6 of Marvel Rivals' American-based devs were reportedly let go, 2 of whom were level designers. These layoffs in particular come as a surprise given that Marvel Rivals has been an incredibly successful and popular since its launch in December. 3 of us played, I believe it was the open beta on it or something, and surprisingly enough, we enjoyed it. It's not our cup of tea, but we enjoyed it. So during its first 72 hours on the market, Marvel Rivals hit 10 million players worldwide. The number doubled the following week to 20 million. Marvel Rivals is among the top 5 games in the United States across PC, PlayStation, Xbox. No Switch, because Switch, please. It's also one of the very few live service games that has broken through the oversaturated, which we've talked about a lot, oversaturated genre. So the layoffs are puzzling. GameSpot contacted NetEase for comments on the decision and received the following statement. This is where we get all businessy. We recently made the difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize, that's some of the biggest bullshit word right there, optimize development efficiency for the game. This resulted in a reduction of a design team based in Seattle that is part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals. We appreciate the hard work and dedication of those affected and will be treating them confidently and respectfully with recognition for their individual contributions. We want to reassure our fan base that the core development team for Marvel Rivals, which continues to be led by lead producer, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. We'll call him Mr. Wu. And game creative director, we're going to call him Mr. Chen, in Guangzhou, China, remains fully committed to delivering an exceptional experience. We are investing more, not less, into the evolution and growth of this game. We are excited to deliver new superhero characters, maps, features, and content to ensure an engaging live service experience for our worldwide player base. Okay, so did we all get a fill of that bullshit? No, tastes so good. So essentially, they did a great job. They were let go from their job because of restructuring. Just, load of crap. Your standard corporate jargon for saving some money. They were making it, but we saving some. So let's run over to Nick here because, well, he's got that damn shirt on, and that's a cool shirt. So Nick, what do you think? Corporate jargon or just bullshit?
Both.
Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, NetEase pretty much said, excuse me, employee number 256, your services are no longer needed here. Thank you and have a good day. Marvel Rivals has done really well for NetEase. So NetEase looked at it and said, we're making some good money from this. We need to trim some of the fat, and some of the fat is the people there in Seattle, and we need to trim them off. And so they did. And so, I mean, that's That's basically like it's not just NetEase, right? I mean, these are all like big corporations and stuff like that. They will, to them, you're just, like I said, a number. You're employee number 256, right? You're just a number to them. And regardless of what you do, how you do it, if you bring in, you make something good and you bring something good to the public and to the company, if they feel that it's in their best interest and the best interest of their profits to dump you or a series of employees, cut you off from the cut you from the fat of the development there, then they're going to do so, regardless of what you contributed or what you may have done or not done for them, right? They don't, regardless of NetEase. In this case, we're talking about NetEase, but all these big corporations, they don't care, right? They don't care about you as an employee. They don't care about you as bringing in, all these companies talk about how the CEO is the greatest thing since sliced bread and they get all these bonuses and everything, but it's the employees that bring the money into that corporation. If it wasn't for the employees, that CEO would not exist, and therefore that company would not exist. But the employees are expendable, right? They are. They can fire 5 of them and five more off the street, right? We're just a rotisserie chicken, just rotating on the thing, just bringing in a new one every single time. So, it sucks. It sucks for these guys, the team over there in Seattle, and it doesn't look good for some people, for NetEase and Marvel Rivals, but ultimately Marvel Rivals will probably continue to make a lot of profit for them. So, for NetEase, it's Tuesday, right? It's nothing. And again, you ask them, or people reach out to them, and we're reorganizing or whatever bullshit they want to come up with to basically say, yeah, they just weren't needed anymore, right? And we were making good profit, but we figured, we could make more profit if we got rid of that company in the United States. Because I don't know, they might have been paying them more too, since they were based out of the US. I don't really know. Because that's why a lot of US companies, hire outside of the United States because it's cheaper, right? And so for them, their NetEase is not in the US. It may have been more expensive for them to have that company there. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And so it might have been easier for them to like, hey, we can save even more money from Marvel Rivals. They gave us what we wanted. They delivered on the promise successfully, overly successfully, because I've read too that NetEase didn't want to do this originally. They didn't want to do it because they didn't want to pay Disney the license fees. But whoever, probably not the CEO, probably someone in the design team or developer, producer of the game or whatever, convinced the higher ups that we should go along with it. Someone did. Probably someone that's not making the money or getting the credibility. And they went with it, and it's turned out to be very successful for them. So, but.
And by the way, that person got fired too.
Yeah. So, who's going to get the bonus at the end of the fiscal year? It's going to be CEO, Mr. Wu or whatever. I don't know their names, but he's going to get that 500 million. Good job. You didn't do anything, but you're CEO, so that means something. Thank you, Mr. Wu. Here's your bonus check.
Yep, you didn't crap the bed, Wu. Good job.
Good job. Fire more next year. That's pretty much what they're going to say. So anyway, it's just the nature of that type of game, but it's crappy. It's horrible. It's not a way to run. It's not, I guess it's a way to run a business, but it's not a way to run, to have people's lives, right? Especially people that are, we have to work because we need money, right? People work because they have to have money in order to buy things, in order to live. That's why people work, right? Some people like to work and like to do things, but I think most people, if they could get paid or didn't have to get paid and somehow could still live and do things, they wouldn't work, right? And still have luxuries, right? I mean, I think that's ultimately what a lot of people would like to do, but people don't have the luxury of doing so, so then they work. And to be looked at from any side, any sort of company as nothing but a number, and it's something that can be thrown to the side whenever it's convenient for the company, makes it a really poor state of the world that we're all living in. So sorry to get all like emotional there with your, or deep in with my thought process.
Deep philosophical.
Deep philosophical. Nick. Yeah. That's what they call me. Pat, what do you think?
As much as I don't want to get into it on a gaming chat, I feel this is like 90% politically motivated. NetEase is a Chinese company. Even though they're not Chinese government owned, they are Chinese government influenced, and they have geopolitically been pulling out of a lot of things that are American and
that's true. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
And then all the tariff stuff. So I think some of this is probably retaliation type things. They want to get out of their U.S. interests. And as a company, this probably makes sense for them, right? Because China is going to do what they do, and then the U.S. government's going to do what they're going to do, and they're both going to puff out their chests like some mating ritual between animals. They're going to whip their dicks out and compare them. And so
they're going to jerk each other off and see who can get off first.
Yeah, somebody's got to eat the cookie. And so I think this is a lot of that, and maybe NetEase can see some writing in the walls that it's not going to be profitable for them to run any studios out of the U.S., right? China and the U.S. are going to be at odds for the next at least 4 years because of our president. Good or bad, your opinion, whatever. I don't want to make this political, but I do think a lot of this is 90% politically motivated. But 10% is probably, like Nick said, the higher salaries, because our salaries are higher here than probably over in China. There's a reason why a lot of things are made in China over here, because it's, especially in an industrial type situation, it's cheaper to offload your industrial needs to China than to do them here in the U.S. because of wages and things like that. Wages and taxes. And, a company wants to run a manufacturing facility here in the U.S., you have to pay the people higher than you would in China. Plus, you also have to pay lots of taxes that probably don't exist in China. I'm not an expert on the Chinese economic system. I don't know how they, but I guarantee you they don't have a lot of the, taxes on an individual over there as they have here. So, there's probably not a whole lot of the personal injury taxes and things like workers' compensation, things like that. So, I think a lot of this is politically motivated. I see that this will probably happen more with like Tencent and NetEase over the years. They got to do it slowly, right? They don't want to make it too obvious, because then they'll just start getting backlash from the U.S. consumer. It's like, why would we give you money if you're going to pull out of our economy because of whatever? But I do think this is a lot more politically motivated than it appears. Because as you mentioned, the game is highly profitable for them. Broke out in like the top 5 or whatever live service game out there, which is hard to do. Plenty of companies do it and fail, and these guys did it. And they only laid off the U.S. workers. They didn't lay off workers anywhere else. They closed down the entire studio. I see that Tencent and NetEase are what you're going to see over the next couple of years or year is that they're going to sell off a lot of their U.S. interests. They're either going to shut down the studio portions in the U.S. or they're going to sell them off to an investor or somebody else who's willing to take that studio away from them. Just so it appears to be not as politically motivated. I guarantee you that we'll see that in the next year, even if it's a profitable thing, because it will happen.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with you about the geopolitical part of it. I do agree there's probably some politics involved. But at the end of the day, what ruins and rules this world is money. So
I would say that in a capitalist country. But when you operate,
every country is capitalist as long as they're making money.
When you operate out of a country that the government has more control over that they can basically make your life hell if you don't go along with their suggestion, as we had mentioned earlier about, they're not saying that you have to pull out of the U.S., but the government is not
highly
friendly.
recommending.
Right.
Yes.
So it's writing on the wall, and maybe they see something that we don't. Like the tariffs are just the tip of the iceberg. Next thing we know, it's going to be services and goods services offered out of that country, because games are technically a service and not a good offered out of that country, right? Because what they are offering is a service. I mean, they're offering a game, which is a product, but technically it's a service.
Yes.
So I see that it is politically motivated 90% and probably 10% based off of, because they don't have a reason to cut the studio. I could go the other way and say they do because of the conversation that we just had earlier, whereas we developed the whole game. We don't need you anymore. Get the hell out. Right. We've got enough content for the next 5 years of this game. We don't need that portion of staff. But the direct comment made from the correspondent that actually reached out to them about how we're investing more into the game.
Yes.
You can't say we're getting rid of people and investing more in the same breath, because that just to me says that makes no sense. How can you invest more and remove people from that? What are you going to do how do you invest more in the current people? You're going to give those people a larger salary? We all know that's bullshit. You're going to hire more people in China to fill that spot if needed. It may not be needed because they have enough content for the next 5 years for the game.
Yeah. And it could just be clearly, both. Honestly, I mean, politics and greed are the biggest.
They're like
destructors of this world, and they are hand in hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
we benefit from a capitalist society. I don't want to live in.
Some of us benefit a lot more than others.
Yes. The benefit is not spread evenly, but it's never been capitalism is never about evenly spread. It's about equal opportunity, not equal outcomes, right? That's the whole.
Those aren't equal as much as they used to be either.
But like I said, I don't want to get political in this because it doesn't. Politics and gaming don't belong together, in my opinion.
Not unless you're playing Red Alert.
Not unless you're playing Papers, Please, or something like that.
Papers, Please. That's a good.
If you're not playing something that's based around that, then it really doesn't belong in video games, in my opinion. You got to keep your politics out of my game, or as old Captain Officer Reese said, keep your peanut butter out of my chocolate. You got your peanut butter in my chocolate. You got your chocolate in my peanut butter.
I got an STD. Oh, wrong commercial.
Oh, that Family Guy, right? He's like, I'm Officer Reese's. What's the problem here?
What's that? What's that one company that bought up all those? The one that
with Tencent?
No,
Embracer.
Embracer will buy them from you. Take-Two's or not Take-Two.
Embracer Embracer's Saudi Arabian company, correct?
I think so.
No, they're Swedish. Embracer is Swedish. I thought
Swedish.
Yeah,
like
I'm
the fish.
Swedish.
Gotcha.
Yes,
like the fish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are headquartered out of Sweden.
But
yeah, so like I said, I do think that this is mostly mostly politically motivated, and I don't like getting into that. But I do think that it's a little bit overstep from the Chinese government, or I don't know that side. It's either overstep from the government of China saying we want to pull out of our investment into the U.S., or NetEase just sees a writing on the wall that they think is coming, where the Chinese government, where it's not going to be profitable for them to operate out of here because something more than tariffs is coming down that they see that we don't, or that they are hoping doesn't, but they're preparing for it. Right.
Let me offer a third option. Disney wants more money. They're making more. The game is doing extremely well. They want more money, so they're going to get rid of some people to pay Disney, because Disney is that kind of a corporation. They'll take all the canned food out of the starving kids from Africa just to feed their
mouse is
themselves.
hungry.
That mouse gets nasty hungry.
I bet they're in a 5 year. I bet they're in a 5 year licensing deal, or if not longer.
They probably have a contract with Disney.
Yeah, licensing
it might be a percentage thing too. I mean, hey, you make X amount.
They probably do, but I mean, the
No.
licensing and fees are probably set for the next 5 years. They know what they're going to pay over the next 5 years based on this is what you're going to pay to have the license, and then this is what you're going to pay us in first dollar, second dollar of every sale or whatever, of that. Which, I really don't. I mean, the mouse is greedy. Yes, we all know the mouse needs more cheese because that, but. I guarantee you. I mean, obviously, we know and have heard the story that it almost didn't happen because of the amount of money and the amount of cheddar the mouse wanted was not what NetEase wanted to pay.
And China's working on this pullout game.
Yeah.
Then how is their population so huge?
They're pulling out of other things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, there's a whole geopolitical retreat in China and their investments in other countries and stuff. And so I think that is mostly what it is. But I do think that there is an aspect of money involved, obviously, because money makes the world go round. Mm-hmm. If those people if that studio of people in the US was really making the majority or lion's share of the game, then that wouldn't have happened. We know it's a very small subset of the Marvel Rivals developers, but it still sucks because I guarantee you they didn't probably give them any severance. We'll never know. But I guarantee you they probably didn't give any severance because we don't have those protections in the majority of the U.S. There's a few states that have those in place, but the government the federal government doesn't have controls in places for shutdowns or layoffs in that aspect.
I believe they all received a day pass for Disneyland, not World, Disneyland.
Disney, it was Japan. It was Disneyland, Japan. Yeah. They had to go to Japan.
Airline tickets aren't a part of the compensation,
and planes aren't flying so well nowadays in the U.S. So
no, it's definitely a driving world right now. So
got to take the international highway.
So like I said, I hate to be political, but in video games, politics and video games don't mix, and I wholeheartedly believe that.
But you're definitely not wrong. You're definitely not wrong in having those thoughts because there's so much political and financial crap just
animosity going along everywhere.
This world, and just straight up ignorance and anger. So there really is no telling because I doubt the truth would ever come out. So we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on it. See if they lay off anybody else. See if the mouse comes out and says, "Hey, you know what? I need some more cheese." Steamboat Willie. So
see if they keep continuing to work on their pullout game.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey needs more Swiss because he needs to put more holes in the cheese.
They got that Steamboat Willie first person
horror
shooter
game.
Horror game. Yeah.
Oh my God,
that looks cool.
They're just I
like the. Yeah. I mean, because it's in Steamboat Willie's in what is it? It can be used by anybody. It's in.
It's free. It's out of its copyright.
Yeah, it's like Popeye and Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, stuff, that's why they're making that Popeye horror movie.
I saw the
Winnie the Pooh one.
Yeah. Oh, so stupid.
I'm about to tear your honey pot a new one.
He's like, "Oh, Piglet." He's like, "Got to go after Piglet. Piglet's honey pot."
Oh dear, my rectum.
That Steamboat Willie game looks pretty cool though. Yeah. The animation's cool in it.
I love the animation for those.
It almost reminds me of Cuphead, right? With that animation style.
Yep, and Cuphead was an amazing game. Hard as shit, but amazing. All right, you guys got anything else before we get fired? All right. Well, let us know in the comments below. Do you agree with Pat? Politics, money, sex, drugs, rock and roll? What was the reason for the layoffs? What was the reason that these people lost their job? And we do wish nothing but the best for them, because people who go into gaming as a career choice, that's because they're passionate about games. That's not something you just do. It's not like you wake up and just do it. You have to be passionate about it. So our hearts go out to them. But let us know in the comments below. What do you think was the true reason why? Let us know if you disagree, agree. Give us all your thoughts and opinions. We really like it. We try to respond when we can. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, all those awesome things down there that keep you up to date with us. And until next time, see ya.